Hey Adam, welcome back to the pub. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, Matt. Yourself?
Yeah, all very well, thank you. Nice sunny week over in the UK. And 100 and something updates that we've had to cherry pick through for this week. Not all this week, that's for the last 30 days, but a lot of updates, right?
Yeah, it was hard to shortlist it down this week, but I think we've picked out some good ones.
We certainly have. So look, over to the updates. Going to crack on with the first one then, which is remixing Google Drive files. So this has just come out like yesterday. It's in private beta and we don't have access yet, unfortunately. What this allows you to do is connect Google Drive into Content Remix. So this is on Content Hub Pro and Enterprise. And what you can do with this is like essentially feed in a Google Drive file into Content Remix, and it will use that to start remixing a new piece of content for you. So what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. Obviously applicable for Google users, but I think anything that kind of makes content easier, it gets my vote.
Yeah, absolutely. So more on the AI train and content remix. This next one of create personalized content from lists is one that you want to talk about, Adam. So talk us over what this one is, because I think this is probably one of the best updates that I've seen so far this year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I haven't really heard much about it, but keen to get access. We've requested the beta, as you can see. I haven't got it quite through just yet. But essentially what this does is you can create a list of contacts like you normally would in lists. And then from actions, you can then remix some content based off of the list, the contacts in the list. So you just provide a list description of kind of who those contacts are. And then you can remix content off the back of those contacts. So say, I don't know, you had a list of decision makers in a certain industry and you want to send them an email on a certain product or a certain service, you can then remix that and it will tailor it to the contacts in the list.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely mega. So if you've got like you said, any list of any kind of segment of people, you can then just say, hey, HubSpot, create me a list of create me some custom content just for this audience, right? That's what the intention is.
Yeah, I think it's a massive win for like account-based marketing, perhaps if you've got like a real niche audience that you need to target on a particular product or service. Yeah, a really good update.
Yeah, I think this is going to be used a lot, and I think going to make life a lot easier for marketers. So the subscription you need for this one is the Professional Customer Platform or the Enterprise Customer Platform. Basically, you need Content Hub Professional or Content Hub Enterprise as the two main things that you need to get access to this. So I believe most of the people on the call that we have today will have access to this. And again, it's in private beta right now, but as soon as we have access to it, we will no doubt be providing some level of content on this one. So again, we're on the content remix as the start, but it's a super powerful tool. So next one I wanted to kind of shout out here is using your own landing pages and website pages in Content Remix. So what this does, previously in Content Remix, it would basically create, and there's no images on these today, which is a bit annoying, and what this would do is it would create a web page for you, but it would be in HubSpot's like default, like I think it's the growth theme or something like that. This actually uses your own website theme in HubSpot, or your own landing page theme in HubSpot. So if you've got it nicely done to your brand requirements, this will then actually create content on a page template that you're used to. So it's not going to have to be redone by the whole marketing team and like tinkered about with. It should just be oven ready and ready to go. I think this is again another really strong content remix update.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this one works in practice, because it makes content remix an actual option, I think, for people that want to do it for landing page and website pages. Because like you say, previously it was a real pain that you could do it, but not in your templates. Then you basically just had to copy and paste it into a template and build it yourself anyway.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it deals with, because there's so many different templates out there. It'll be interesting to see how well it adapts to a template, depending on the complexity of the template. So yeah, keen to give this one a go once we get that access through.
Yeah, absolutely. So this next one, Adam, is one that you threw up on the thing, and it's a hashtag management. So this is going to make marketers' lives just so much better. Talk to us about what this is.
Yeah, it's basically like a little library of hashtags that you can add into your social creation page. So it's basically just a quick time saver for admins that are doing the social. You can just kind of pre-populate all your hashtags that you commonly use, and then when you're building your social out, you can just add in the hashtags from the list.
Yep. So there's no more like wondering, oh, what hashtag do we use, or have I spelt that right, or anything like that. I don't know if you read this, but I read that as like wash tag instead of I like capitals in hashtags. But this is available now for pretty much everybody. If you're on Marketing Pro or above, you can use this. It's live. It didn't go into private beta or anything like that. It just cracked on straight into live. It came out a couple of days ago. And I think, it just makes life so much easier for social media marketers, basically. Yeah, really, really good tool. So next one we've got is URL properties. So Adam, you put your name against it. Oh, do you put my name against this one? Thank you very much. Because I can't see the point in this, and it's going to be one of those not a Matt rant, but I just don't see the point. And I say that because single line text properties you could always put URLs into, right? And you could always click them from the record. So there is a new property type of URL property. And HubSpot says here why it matters. I think kind of it does here in this instance when you're viewing it on the index page, and you can see that it basically renders links as clickable links within the index page. I think that is probably the only benefit, but there's no other benefit apart from having it in the index page, because single line text properties on the contact record behave exactly the same. So
I was excited by it when I first saw it. And then when I realized that it doesn't actually populate as a URL when you're in like the contact or company view, I was like, oh, that's a shame. But it is good that it renders as a URL in the index view, because I think a lot of clients that I work with anyway use like quite heavily use SharePoint, for example, and often need to save a SharePoint link for where the contract's stored or something like that. So I think that's a nice little win, but it's just shame that it's only kind of renders as that URL in the index view.
Yeah, absolutely. So next one that we've got, again, this one's actually on you, Adam, here to talk about this one. So you've got the Kanban board for deals now in the sales workspace. So talk to us a bit about that whilst I try and bring that up and show the viewers what that can do.
Yeah, so I'm getting a bigger fan of the sales workspace by the week, and this is another nice addition. I think there was 3 updates to the sales workspace this month, one of which being this Kanban board for deals. So previously it was basically just a list of your deals, and now you can actually have it on that kind of board view.
So we haven't got it yet, or even on this demo portal that we have, but there'll be essentially a button on the right or left over here, won't there, to kind of switch it into more of a traditional kind of pipeline view, right?
Yeah, which I think a lot of salespeople, that's probably what they're most used to. So yeah, a really nice update. And the other 2 updates that they've done for the sales workspace in the last 30 days are dashboards. So you can now add dashboards to your sales workspace, which is great because it's another reason for the salespeople not to need to leave this area. So you can choose what gets added there. And finally, they've released like a daily digest email, which at first I was a bit skeptical because I thought it just shows me a list of my meetings, which I could see anyway. But when you actually click into the meetings, it takes you into like a prep space, I suppose, for your meetings, where it kind of recaps what's previously happened as a space for notes. And yeah, it's a really nice feature actually. So that's a good one to opt into.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that as well. I've actually been finding it pretty useful to kind of get ahead of meetings, and just think it's overall pretty nice tool. So we're moving into Service Hub for a little bit here, and this one's particularly good for when you want to kind of manage your workload within your service team. So what this is doing, and there's a big block of text here, but we'll summarize this for you. So it's ticket routing engine. There's been an update that allows like it to balance basically distribute tickets evenly to people, or more balanced. So as you can see, well, big line of text here. There's actually no images, unfortunately, this one, but you can see a bit of an example where if your user A has got 2 messaging tickets, 3 email tickets, and 5 tickets total, but user B has got this amount of tickets, it basically works out who's got the most tickets and then assigns the next ticket to the person who hasn't got too many tickets on them. So it's kind of like doing it by workload, which is really, really nice. And I think, well, you just need that, don't you, in a service tool, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the service tool goes from strength to strength.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things to note here is that there is a upgrade on the Service Hub Enterprise for users. I think we've got a few on the call who have access to Service Hub Enterprise, where you can actually do it based on skill set as well as how busy they are. So you can fill in the skills of your reps and go from there, which is quite nice to be able to do that as well. So next one that we've got up, Adam, is auto merging. So this is a bit of a hot topic with a few clients. So to talk us through the auto merging that you can now do.
Yeah, I think duplicates is an issue for many clients, and HubSpot's now released this latest beta where it can auto merge contacts and companies, which is great, but it's only based off of a few select fields, which is slightly limiting. So I think on contacts, I think it's like first name, last name, email, and on company, I think it's like company name, maybe address, and domain, which obviously is welcome, right? It's a good addition. However, when you've got a really good application out there like Qualify, which is a little bit, a lot more capable in terms of properties you can use to manage your duplicates. I guess if you don't have Qualify, it's amazing. If you already have Qualify, you probably wouldn't use this. But either way, it's a nice addition, but it's only limited to those Ops users, so Ops Pro and Ops Enterprise.
Yeah, I'd like to see more fields in here. I'll just be able to customize what I can merge it on. So it's kind of I wouldn't call it a non-update, but no one that I know is merging contacts just based on first name, last name, and phone number. How postcode or company name or something like that isn't in there, I don't know. But that's what HubSpot's gone with for now, which certainly not a bad feature, but something that just to be aware of will start improving over time, hopefully.
It's a good start.
Yeah, it's a good start, absolutely. So going back on AI now, this is a really nice one just for HubSpot admins or anyone who just gets fed up of workflows, not having descriptions. So what we can now do is you can now see that what HubSpot's going to do is it's going to backfill your descriptions on workflows that don't have them, and it's fully automatic on workflows going forward as well. So there's no need to press generate description. HubSpot just generates a workflow description for you each time, and it's just a really powerful way of essentially searching through workflows. So if I head over to our demo account here, I should be able to showcase that you can now search for a workflow, not just by name, but also by description. So if we have that on our demo account, which I believe we do, so you can see here we've got lots and lots of test workflows. So what I want to do is I'll just search. I don't know. Do we have anything with a description in here? Creates a task. And hopefully this is actually not going to show me up. Okay, great. You knew it would, right? But yeah, there you go. So you can see here, creates a task. So it's still not quite got like a fuzzy match on it where it just like gets what you want. But it does not just search the name now. It also does search the description, which is really nice, especially when you're going to have all of those filled in, backfilled by AI.
Yeah, just remember your American spellings.
Yes, yeah, remember the American spellings for sure, just in case. Absolutely. So what we've now got is an interesting one about AI email template imports. So this is an interesting one because what it does is it allows essentially templates to be imported from tools like MailChimp or Marketing Cloud and directly into HubSpot, and HubSpot will recreate your email as a new template just by from the HTML. So this looks like a great feature, right, Adam?
Yeah, this is a real winner because I can imagine having, if say you're a big MailChimp user, it's going to be a real blocker thinking, oh, I've got to copy across all these different templates we've created over the years into HubSpot. But the fact that HubSpot AI will do it for you now is a massive release of that barrier to entry to be able to kind of use email marketing in HubSpot. So yeah, big fan of this one.
Yeah, so it's just like any email tool, grab the HTML, whack it in there, and HubSpot will rebuild your email, and it will actually use proper drag and drop modules. It's not just going to recreate the HTML. It actually creates a drag and drop environment of that email. So it will recreate the modules. It does everything. So this is a really quite awesome update, and I'm looking forward to when this comes out of private beta and people can actually get using it. Awesome. Next on our list is looking at inbound calling on mobile. So again, very specific to sales here, but what it can do, and let's bring up this screen grab from HubSpot, the update here, is that at the moment, if someone calls a HubSpot number and it's set up for inbound calling, it will ring on the desktop environment and it won't ring on mobile. Whereas what this will do, it'll actually reroute and use HubSpot audio on your mobile device. So many calls basically are missed, and even on our end, to be honest with you, where someone will try and call our office number, but we won't have HubSpot open on our own portal in the browser, and we missed the phone call. So this is going to allow it to kind of go direct into your mobile device.
Yeah, impactful one, this one, especially for like say smaller sales teams where you're going to got 1 or 2 salespeople that are out and about, not at their desktop the whole time. So yeah, a great update to be able to take those inbound inquiries.
Yeah, absolutely. So controversial one now, Adam. You posted on LinkedIn about this one. So something to do with a HubSpot homepage, I recall.
Yeah, I would have just appreciated a heads up on this one, because I've spent a lot of time with a certain client trying to get certain homepages implemented, and then next thing you know, the default homepage is a thing of the past, and HubSpot is now determining what you're going to see when you log in through the login page on the HubSpot website, which is fine. But there's just a few elements of it there's a few elements I really like. So it kind of shows you what you've just been working on. So if all your tabs have closed down, they kind of show you what you've recently been working on. But it also shows errors, but the errors aren't unique to the user. They're kind of across the whole account. So based off of the permission set. So say you're a user that has access to workflows, it could pop up and say, I don't know, you have 4 errors in workflows, and a user could read that as, I personally have 4 issues, and then you think, oh my God, what do I need to do? Whereas actually it might have nothing to do with you. It's somebody else's workflows, but the alert still shows on your page. But I like the idea behind it, but I'd like the ability for admins to be able to control what errors or /alerts that users get to see.
Whoever created the dashboards feature in HubSpot where you can drag reports around and stuff just needs to get into creating the homepage environment where you could drag around widgets to create your own homepage. I think that's what needs to happen. So on our demo account here, basically I've just opted into the beta to show you what the experience will be like. And you can see here the little sprocket that you can click on, which takes me to my reports, because that's my default homepage. If I refresh now, he says, okay, great. But as you can see, that will work. But as you can see here on our actual live portal, you still end up with a sprocket, but it's no longer clickable. It's a bit sad. And then you get this little home icon. I won't click that because it'll showcase some stuff that other stuff that we don't want to show. But you can see there that the home button appears, and that's all you've got. And now, just on cue, our demo account is ready, and you will have this welcome to a new personalized homepage pop up here, and you click that. And just like Adam was talking about, you get this environment here where it shows you have 6 workflows to review, but they're not my workflows. And there's some lessons here around Academy. And then obviously, because it's any software company, they're trying to upsell you some stuff along the way as well. So a bit of a mixed bag on this one, Adam. I think is the kind of the polite way to put it. Do you think?
Yeah, and I like you mentioned, I did post this on LinkedIn just to kind of see what was going on, because it kind of just went live without kind of any update that I saw. And Kyle Jepson actually replied, and he was hinting that the workplaces could become the home pages for those users. So that would make a lot of sense to me for the sales workspace to be the homepage for salespeople, for example, or the service host homepage.
Yeah,
I mean, users. So
the obvious way around this is to have a your browser kind of hot linked into a particular page rather than the homepage. So whenever I load up our HubSpot, it takes me to the sales workspace. So I think that's the way around it. But quite obvious. But still annoying that they just cracked into this and didn't really give everyone or anyone an option to not do it. It's coming. So it's going to change.
I've requested access because quite excited. It's quite a limit. It's quite a small update, but quite impactful, I think. So this gives you the ability to clone a record. So you can clone a deal, clone a contact, clone a company, and what it does is, like you can see on screen here, it basically brings up the create object form, and it's just a really quick way of recreating an object. Personally, I can't really see the benefit of doing it on a contact as such, but certainly deals.
Not a great example, is it? Yeah.
I think deals is a great one if you're kind of managing renewals. or you have just multiple deals, but you need to split them out. It's great because one of the benefits as well with deals is that you can also copy the line items, which you can't do in a workflow very easily. So
without some serious custom code. Yeah, absolutely.
So a really, really good update. I know a few of our clients will be keen for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So next on our agenda is upgrades to the new to Sandboxes, which is really, really exciting as well. Well, because we're HubSpot nerds. For most people, quite boring, I'm sure. But you've got the really nice Sandbox upgrades going on here, Adam.
Yeah. So in my eyes, the Sandbox has become a sandbox in a sense that you can actually you can basically do something in Sandbox now and then actually deploy it in the live environment, which was crazy in a sense that you couldn't do that before. Very frustrating that you couldn't do that before, but great that it's now here.
Yeah, so what you can do is it doesn't deploy from like any sandbox. So it deploys from your sandbox to your live. So rather than like if we had an unmatched sandbox, we'd better deploy it to your environment. But it's quite nice in the fact that you can test stuff out on the sandbox and then bring it into live, and it just saves. It's just so good for testing, and also gets around any limits. So we know we have some clients who are up against maybe like their workflow limits or list limits or every other kind of limit that you've got there. But you could then build it in Sandbox, determine that it works, and then deploy it to live, and not waste any of your kind of available workflows and stuff like that. So I think we'll see people using Sandboxes much more regularly rather than just for massive deployments. You'll see people testing out a simple workflow in a Sandbox and then deploying it to live, I think.
Definitely, yeah, because it's easy to do now. Like, why wouldn't you? The argument before was, I don't want to have to create it all again. So to take that barrier away, it's a great win, this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's an interesting one. You've got a really good use case for it, Adam, haven't you? Multiple select user properties. So I thought this was a bit of a meh update, but you've convinced me otherwise. Talk to us about.
Well, I did as well initially as well, because I thought, why would you ever want like two contact owners within the same field? Because it just would confuse things, right? But the use case I can think of is if you had, say, like an internal IT team and you had multiple users that look after that customer, you could then have them all listed within this property. And then when one leaves and you need to remove their credentials or something, you can then trigger that based off of the property. So like it says on the tin, you can now have multiple users in one single property.
Yeah, so it looks like it's one of those ones where people have been asking for it for a while. I think it still does create some issues on some objects. Like you wouldn't want multiple owners of a deal, for example, right? So you'd lose accountability. So I think it's quite interesting to see how that will work. In some instances, you want to have the accountability of just one person, but sometimes I think it just does make sense to have multiple people. So some caveats: existing user properties aren't impacted. The owner properties are not impacted, and you can't use these in marketing email and stuff like that. You can, however, still use them in sales email snippets and workflows, but marketing email it will not work in.
That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about some redesigned pages that have been rolling out next, which is there's been quite a mixed response to these. I'm just seeing if I can bring up an example of this. But the new pages are the index pages are getting an upgrade. So this is what the old one looks like. And on my other tab, I'm going to try and have an attempt at creating a view that doesn't showcase customer data on my other tab. But it's getting a bit of a facelift, Adam. And do we like it or do we not?
Yeah, I'm grown on it. At first, I was like, "Oh no, don't change it. It's not broken." But no, I am starting to enjoy it now. It's a lot less cluttered. There we go. So yeah,
I don't like the icons. I'll give it that. I don't like the icons. I think they're not great. But positive side, I think it's much cleaner, right? Like you said, it's more condensed. It just makes much more sense.
Yeah, it's quite easy to add because earlier I was using it on like a live call and I was like, I'll just quickly add a column, and then I was like, but you can just do it from within the index now, so you can just click those three dots and actually add the column in where you like it, rather than having to add it and then drag it up and trying to get it up. So yeah,
And also, I think one of the main improvements for people on laptops, you can remove the filter bar. That's a big win.
Yes, and am I right in saying that you've got more control over what those filters are that show?
Yeah, you can hit this more button here, and you can add your own filters here into the quick select one. So you can't get rid of the HubSpot's default one, like lead status, which nobody uses anymore. You can't get rid of that for some reason, but you can add your own other stuff to it.
Yeah, no, that's good. It'd be nice if you could remove them and have it completely custom. But yeah, I thought it was important to showcase this so it doesn't catch you off guard that when it does change in your account. But yeah, same but different.
Same but different. Yeah, I think that's the fair analysis of this one. So just talking about that thread of being caught off guard, one of the other things is everyone's got given some Breeze credits. And sorry, I'm going off topic again, but is on here, what you can see is they've actually now brought in Breeze. Me and Adam noticed this earlier. They've brought in Breeze credits to this view here that you can click from your kind of main navigation. And it's just showing you how many credits you've got left. So as we're on the demo account, we don't have credits on the demo account. But this is actually showing you how many you've got available, so you keep on top of it without having to constantly go into the account and billing section. So I think that's really important. And HubSpot trying to avoid people getting caught out on things like Breeze credits, which again, yeah, just a nice proactive thing that they're doing, which is nice. So next one, which we're actually going to talk about properly, is video chapter editing. So, Adam, you put this against your name. Would you like to go into that?
Yeah, I just thought this was an interesting update because I think you ordinarily wouldn't really associate HubSpot with video editing capabilities.
No.
But one of the latest updates is that it can kind of chunk your videos into sections and put like timings against them. So I think a lot of the time you might use a third-party app to do this kind of thing. So I thought it was just worth flagging that it's now possible to do this in HubSpot.
This is really good, yeah, because then you can send it to YouTube, right? And then automatically on YouTube, it will automatically have the chapters. There's no need to go into the YouTube content editor and do it all there. And yeah, even on your website, it's it will show up in chapters, which I think is really, really good, especially if you've got a longer demo that people want to chunk up into different bits. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think you could like copy and paste them for social as well. So when we rabbit on and do our 15-20 minute product update briefings, people might be able to just see, okay, that one sounds interesting, and then skip to that part of the video. So I thought that was good. And the other video update was auto captions. So HubSpot's now got mind you, it feels like it's been there for a while, but it did come up within the updates in the last 30 days. So whether they just
maybe there's been
now AI generated captions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, keeping it all in house, if you like, all within that HubSpot hat of capability. So
yeah, interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I just saw on the screen grab I got on the screen. I was like, "Are they got ChatGPT embedded in a video?" But no, they're talking about ChatGPT in the video. So don't get too excited there. But that's a really nice update. Awesome. I think that's the very end of our very long list of updates, and we cherry picked about 20 from 104 different updates.
Yeah,
pretty mental. So